Good? Yeah? Mike? Oh, I'm on. Yay! This apron is all a huge joke because I actually rarely cook during a cooking demo, but I feel like I'm obligated to do it. Because my friend Bonnie, ooh, there's going to be fun thing. Do I need to take my earrings off? Okay. Do you guys know Bonnie Goodman?
Oh, hi, Bonnie.
Bonnie is the founder of Live and Let Livingston, the vegan potluck in Livingston, Montana. And Bonnie is the reason I'm here, because Bonnie, well, I should also say that a wonderful gentleman named Ron Livingston responded to my book tour request and said, why don't you come to Spokane? And then Bonnie got in touch with me and said, will you come to Montana? Then she started working with Tessa and Josh, and here I am. Bonnie picked me up in Billings a week ago Friday, and we have been going from Billings to Livingston to Bozeman to Helena to Missoula, doing cooking classes all the way around Montana. And now we're here. So thank you so much. And she's amazing. She's really amazing. And I have had the privilege of staying at Tracy Martin's guest house where I want to move. Do you know who Tracy Martin is? Yes. Tracy, give a wave. Tracy Martin is behind Rabbitron. She rescues rabbits, and I have been the happiest vegan in the world for the last couple of days between rabbits and pigeons and cats and dogs and chickens. Oh my, so it's been awesome. And then who here knows Kit? Kit? Of Rivers Wish Sanctuary. I got to spend the best, smelliest, awesome, muddy, poopiest day ever with your animals. I mean, to the point that when we left the sanctuary, have you been? Raise your hand if you've been. And how many now are gonna go now that you know that it exists? You have to go. And you have to meet the animals and remember why we're putting plants on our plate. They are amazing, and I had to make a donation to her the minute I left, and I encourage you all to do the same thing. So I'm just saying that to say I'm here because of a lot of amazing people doing incredible things in the community to help animals and the environment and people, and it's a real privilege. And so I tend to be really chatty. I'm warning you. And I'm allegedly supposed to be cooking while this is happening. So let me tell you how this goes. First off, if there's anybody who would be willing to help me with handouts, I have a couple of things here today. I have recipes. Nobody? Really? That hurt my feelings. No, I'm just kidding. So everybody gets one of each. So what I have for you are the two recipes that we're going to be, oh my gosh, you're videotaping. I'm so sorry. I forgot to warn you. I do this. I do all kinds of things. So, okay. So we're going to do two recipes today. We're going to do umami anasazi beans, and we're going to do a mushroom rice recipe. So the recipes are here for you, but there's also a very important handout, and it is called how-tos. And so it is probably every question you'd ever want to ask about pressure cooking, and your job is to pay attention to this and make sure I've answered all the questions. I firmly believe, I'm 85% sure that by the time I'm done doing the demos, I will have answered all those questions, but you have to keep me honest. So if I don't answer some of them, you're going to tell me, right? Okay, thank you. And I love the eye contact. You're with me. What's your name? Jessica. Okay, I'm going to just totally go to you for the rest of the time. Okay, thanks, Jessica. Okay, so Bonnie is already on it because she knows that I already talked too much. So here's what I want to know. How many people here own a pressure cooker? How many people here who own a pressure cooker use it? Ha! How many people here have a pressure cooker and it's still sitting in the box or it's in a cupboard or anything? Okay, so good. And then how many of you are thinking maybe pressure cooker once I hear from this crazy lady? Okay, cool. All right, so I am going to be able to, I think, answer all of your questions and hopefully get you really inspired to pressure cook. So the other question, because I'm just always curious, how many people here identify as vegan? Oh, wow. Okay, and how many people identify as vegetarian? And who's veg-curious? Okay, cool. So this is good. All right, so I'm going to jump in on a few things because I want food to start cooking. I want you to know what's going on, and then I'm going to talk to you about how pressure cookers work. Does that sound good? Okay, so I want to start right away. First, what Bonnie's doing is caramelizing some onions. And when I say caramelizing onions, what I mean is it's the cheater's version, because here's what you need to know. I actually don't like to cook. And I'm actually a really lazy cook. Not a good combination for writing cookbooks, but so far so good. So I am doing a cheater's version, which is we're gonna have these onions with just a little bit of sesame oil and a pinch of sugar on a really high heat, but for only like 8 or 9 minutes. We just want them to get really brown so they look like we caramelized them. And later I'm gonna tell you why we did it this way, okay? But let's get talking about the lid of a pressure cooker, because a lot of you are nervous or scared of using a pressure cooker, right? Who's nervous about pressure cooking? Okay, so let's talk about today's pressure cooker. We have the old ones. When my mother started pressure cooking, my sweet mother, my mother was a Southern California girl who married a dude from Iowa who had canning expectations. And so she was not happy about this in the first place. And so she's canning, and she's got the pressure cooker going on the stovetop and 4 little girls. And she's like, get out of the house, get out of the house. Because she was terrified. So we were terrified. Well, the second generation pressure cookers that we have on the stovetop here and the electric pressure cookers, which are considered third generation, have so many features now that really take away some of that scariness, like this plastic seal. Who has, raise your hand again if you have a pressure cooker. Okay, so you know that plastic insert inside? Do you take this out when you wash it? You should. Okay, good. All right, good. We've got Stephen back here who does. A lot of people don't do that. So a couple things happen. It gets dry and it gets brittle. And so then it's not going to always keep pressure in. That's one thing that happens. The other thing is you might have a lentil or an oat, if you're making oatmeal, that gets lodged up there that will keep it from cooking at pressure. There's an Instant Pot Facebook page. Anybody here on that Facebook page? Oh, I think about every other day someone will say, I got my Instant Pot and it no longer comes to pressure, and someone says, did you clean the lid? So, you know, it's just kind of like safety first. But we're going to talk about some of that in a minute because I want to get this rice going. The features that you see on a lid, and if anybody wants to come up, because this is a really big room, but there are a couple things that any lid of a pressure cooker is going to have, whether it's a stovetop pressure cooker or an electric. And that is that there's going to be a valve that pops up when it's come to pressure. I don't know if you, I wonder if I put it here. Okay, well, first off, something just came out. Okay, well, welcome to pressure cooking. So this is a piece that actually comes off. See this plastic piece? So when you're doing your check, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to check to see if the plastic, I might need somebody to help me put this on. Where's Tracy or Tessa? Who's babysitting the pig? Who saw the pig? Who saw Penelope? Oh, I've got it. We're good. We're good. We're good. But Tracy, you're going to be my backup when I need people. Okay, so I wanted you to hear that. Can you hear that on my mic? Okay. So if that's not moving, it's not going to come to pressure. That means probably something got stuck in there, a bean or something. So you want this valve to be able to pop up. When you put a lid on, when that pops up, you know then that you're beginning to get at pressure. But the other thing is we have a lever now. These were not, do you remember the jiggly tops on the old pressure cookers? Well, those don't really exist now. You can still buy a Presto that has them, but these levers have steam for open, and then you close it to seal. So if something happened, like sometimes I've been known to make a rice dish and I forget to put the rice in, don't judge. And I'm like, oh, I need to get the rice in. So I just flip the switch, let the steam come out, and then I have a safety feature. When this comes to pressure, which I will show you soon, if I decide to open up the lid, it won't even let me open it. So do you see what I mean, that we have more safety features? So I'm going to get this rice going because then I'm going to back up a little bit to tell you how all this pressure cooking madness happened. As Bonnie and I are doing this, you're going to start to see how it all makes sense. If anybody wants to come up and see what a quick caramelized onion looks like, come on up. Because it's really pretty, and you guys got to work with me. Does anybody care? I want someone to care. Someone care. Okay. That's what I want. That's all I ask. Thank you. Doesn't that look good? Okay, now we go. Okay, because you're smelling it too. All right. Finally. I appreciate you guys. Okay, so thank you. So this is an electric pressure cooker. How many here who had their hand raised up for a pressure cooker have an electric? Okay, so this is actually a multi-cooker. I am going to put this on a brown function. When you are making a decision between an electric pressure cooker and a stovetop pressure cooker, one of the things that you're going to think about are the functions that it has. So obviously, Bonnie's able to saute in a stovetop. So on this one, I have a brown function here. If you were going to buy an electric pressure cooker, I would tell you not to buy one that doesn't have some kind of saute or brown feature. Because how many people want to make one-pot meals in a pressure cooker? Yeah? And so why would you want that extra step of having to heat things up in a skillet and then dumping it, right? So you want that function. So I'm just putting this on saute real quick. And then we're going to put in some mushrooms. Now this mushroom rice, how many people start a recipe and then you go through like about 8 or 9 steps and then you realize you should have read the whole thing because you forgot 3 things? Yeah. So one of the things I like you to do is to tell me what I'm doing. So how much do I want to put in here for my mushroom rice? I want 1 cup, and I think I'm going to double. Okay, wait. And how many people here are going to want a sample? All of you? Okay, good. So we'll double this up. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple cups, actually. So the saute feature is really great because we can start to heat this up. Now, you're at sugar, you're doing it all. Okay. Okay. So Bonnie is getting the umami anasazi beans started, and I'm going to tell you why we call them umami in a moment. If you were rice, you would be right here, wouldn't you? Yeah, go for it. Bonnie and I are kind of like, I've asked her if she'll come with me to Cincinnati because I need her. This has been our show. I'm going to miss her. Okay, so I'm going to get some rice going in here. I'm going to do a couple cups. And I'm not tweeting when I look at my phone. I'm actually trying to keep track of some time. So we're using a long grain rice. Who here makes brown rice at home? How long does it take to cook? How long? 45 minutes? Well, that's just crazy. We're going to make this in about 22 minutes. Does that sound good? What? I know. Isn't that great? That's why we're pressure cooking. Okay, so how much vegetable broth did I say I wanted? 1.5 cups, and that was 1. Have you guys seen these? You know when you go out to buy vegetable broth and you open up that big carton and then it sits in your refrigerator and you have to throw it out? You can buy a little 4-pack now, which is the exact same amount, and it's 1 cup. So anyway, that's just a little FYI. Somewhere in Montana is going to be my guess. But who here buys, I think, perfect, grocery outlet, great. So let's see, we doubled this, and we were going to do a cup. We were going to do 2 cups of vegetable broth. Then we were going to do some water, because there was a 1/4 cup in there, right? Right? Cup of vegetable broth, 1/4 cup, or was it a 1/2 cup of water?
3 cups of liquid.
Thank you. Who's that? Oh, I like no meat athlete. Can count, okay, okay. No meat athlete's friend. Let's do a little bit more. But we don't want to do too much. We want this rice to come out just right. So I'm going to get this lid going, and Bonnie is, go ahead and put those all in, but we don't need the second one, just that. Okay, it's time to pay attention to the lid. Then we're going to talk about a lot of this, but you need to see this, and we need to get it cooking because you want to go home at some point, right? Who has tomorrow off? Yeah, so we have a little time. Okay, so we talked about our fancy lids, right? So now, guess what this pressure cooker does? It actually has a unlock little icon, dummy proof for me, and then I can go like this and it's locked. Did you hear that? I'll go closer. Did you hear that lock? So if you wonder if it's closed, I think we're pretty clear it's closed, right? So now I've moved the pressure lever over, and I'm going to press high. I'm going to cook this rice on high. There are 2 different kinds of pressure when you're pressure cooking, high and low. And usually for beans and grains, we use high. And we're going to talk more about that, but I'm going to start here, and I'm going to choose high pressure, and I'm going to choose 22 minutes. And then I'm going to hit start. Okay, mushroom rice is going. Now, Spokane, thank you so much for such a warm welcome. I had a blast here. If you want to learn more about vegan pressure cooking or just how simple it is to go vegan, you can find me at jlgoesvegan.com. And for those of you who are trying to figure out this whole vegan thing, remember that I'm a vegan lifestyle coach and cook and a consultant, and it really is easy to go vegan. Check out my real world vegan meal plans where you can find out how you can get back into the kitchen, start with some whole foods, and then for those of us who live in the real world, well, we need to hit the freezer section, buy a couple of canned goods, and put it all together for a great plant-based meal. So check me out. I'm a great resource, and so is INVEG. They are amazing. You need to get involved with your local community and change the world for animals.